Tommy, great to see you.
Great to see you, brother. Thanks for inviting me over tonight. This is a nice place you got here.
Thank you. It's not my place, but it's a nice place.
Hey.
Okay, you have a new guitar here.
Yeah.
Right?
It's the last custom shop made.
Okay.
Right, because the guy who had the custom shop, Andy Allen, he made all my guitars. He retired after, 35 years of working there, and now he's working from home and building his own guitars and has the blessings of the Maton Guitar Company, and he's still my pal and all that. But this is the last guitar that he made that they gave to me ages ago, and I just got it out of the box about a year ago and started playing it, and it was kind of it was still asleep.
There's a breaking in phase.
There's a breaking in phase, and nothing does better than just play it all the time.
Yeah.
Change the strings and play it and change it and play it, which means going on tour.
Right.
You
got to beat it up a little bit, right?
Beat it up, change the strings, and hit it and do everything with it.
When you're playing, does it matter the size of the guitar for where you move back to finger? Because I noticed that you're back here, except when you're muting, you're up a little bit. Are you looking for a certain string tension for when you? Is there like an ideal spot?
No, I'm looking for the voice.
Okay.
Right.
So
this. Right. So this doesn't need to be. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
So this is like. I'm telling the story. Now, gentle. Right. Now, I may just play it a little harder right there. So it's got a bit of power, and that'll lift it, and then I'll come back into the verse again and do that. Here, the bass is down here, and the story's up here.
So the dynamics of the piece, the tonality, wherever you move, as you get closer to the bridge, you have a little bit more bite to the sound.
Yep.
Then as you quiet down, if you want to play something that's more piano in dynamics, you maybe move closer to the sound hole.
Right. There's another song of mine, another new one of mine, where I purposely tried to do something with Billy Joel in mind.
Okay.
Right? I tried to think like an orchestral piano piece in the middle of this like heavy metal finger-picking tune, right?
Okay.
So when I wrote this tune, it's called A Drowning Heart.
Okay.
And my thought was, I'm at the airport and I'm looking at everybody, and everyone's on their phones and everybody's busy, and it's like this whirlwind of this is real life in front of me, and I'm thinking, where there's so much coming in here, right? In here, and this is being ignored, and so I had this idea that this is flooding and this is drowning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, A Drowning Heart there's my title. Now write it. And you know what I did? I thought about Nirvana, and then, right? So I stole that kind of idea, and then I was listening to Taylor Swift's new album. That's all I listened to for about 3 days, just to soak in something new. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I loved about some of her stuff was that the chorus of some of her songs, it's not a lot of notes. It's one note and the chords change underneath, and it's this cry from the heart. And I said, that's what I need, right? So the Nirvana part is... Now, the Taylor Swift part. Right? So that goes through that twice, and then we do a double chorus because we're songwriters.
Right.
We do a double chorus. Then it comes into the Billy Joel inspired. Last chorus. And that's how it
Awesome.
finishes. Yeah, so it's got all those elements in it, you know. The original idea from getting that idea of the flooding here, drowning here, Nirvana idea, and then Taylor Swift, and then Billy Joel. And so it was just all I'm doing is trying to draw things from the influences and make something new.
Okay, so when you're working on something like that, how do you create a song like that? Do you do it over time? Do you say, okay, I've got this part, what goes after this? Or are these kind of ideas that are works in progress that you keep that you record and then you just keep refining?
Sometimes I get one good idea and then it may hang around for a while and I try other things and it doesn't work. Usually, like a song like this, I wrote it almost in about 2 hours.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So as soon as I got... Right? So that sounds like a finger-picking tune that it could have been from a long time ago. But the melody against the chord sense is today. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm using this ancient technique here, but it's giving me new ideas, right? So I wrote the first part. Bam, bam, bam. Right, and it sets it up. Then the second time. Right, so now it's going somewhere, and so then we go back to the verse again, and in the verse I may change the phrasing a little bit in the melody just to do something different. I also love this.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love that sound.
Yeah.
That sound there, you know.
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. Of the people that regularly watch my channel, 58% are actually not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button now. This will help me to get even more of my dream guests and continue to grow my channel. Thank you. So when you're working on ideas for a new record, do you say, okay, I need 2 up-tempo songs, 3 up-tempo songs, I need some mid-tempo songs? What's a new record going to be composed of?
Well, I generally start out with trying to write up-tempo songs, and then if I get an idea for a slower tune, then I'll go with that, you know. Like the latest thing I wrote is this. something like that. So
Beautiful.
I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress.
The middle section that you do, it almost sounds like romantic era Beethoven or something. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
I love
Amazing.
it.
Beautiful.
Unresolved, then resolved.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
straight from here.
Yeah.
And it's always scares me when I write things like that because I think it's just too simple, you know.
No.
It's kindergarten, you know.
No.
Like sometimes when I'm writing a song, and it's so simple, there's a battle because there's a writer up here who's so clever, throwing ideas at me and wanting to, you know, it's all going on, but there's one waiting down here, waiting to be satisfied.
Every time I hear you play, I think there's nothing that's difficult for Tommy to play. Tommy, seriously, there's nothing.
Everything I just played was difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah, if I tried to play it, it'd be difficult. But it's. I mean, even when you played that B flat chord with your thumb crossing the two strings and stuff, like anything that you do, it seems like your fingers are just so always in the right. You know.
Well,
so clean, everything is, and yet it's so
this
powerful.
is really weird, but like sometimes people will say, well, how do you warm up? You must do stretches, you must, and I was like, I don't do any of that stuff. I get up at 5 a.m. and play better than I just played, you know? So I don't know.
Okay, come on, but there's something that's difficult. What do you work?
Oh, everything's difficult.
Okay. Is there something that you play live that some nights you're like, I hope I can play that?
Oh,
right.
There's stuff I've written that I can't play now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you
What do you think about that?
I think it's called the passage of time.
Yeah. But sometimes it's like is it that maybe it's just not in your repertoire if you haven't played it in a while, or is it?
I mean, songs that I wrote back in the 90s, songs like Train to Dusseldorf, right? Which, I mean, I haven't played it in years. Right, and then I used to play it like double this tempo, and I can't do it. See, I'm already struggling with it. When I played it when I was younger, it would go did. It was like so in the pocket and so snappy. You know, today it sounds like better get to work, boy. Better get back in the shed.
Don't you think though that sometimes some of these things are, well, it depends on what you've been playing at the time.
Yeah.
And certain techniques that were fresh at a certain point, if you don't play them for a while,
Exactly.
it's just like, oh, how did that feel before, right? And you kind of have to just get that feeling back for how it feels to play it.
Well, you know, the funny
way.
thing is, after hanging around with Les Paul those few years before he passed away, watching him deal with the pain in his hands with all this stuff, and watching him playing melody using 4 fingers to get one note, enough strength to go. You know what I mean? And that's dedication. But I guess he must have thought, well, I'll go home and put on some old black and white footage of me just tearing the crap out of it. You know what I mean? Because he did.
He did.
He tore it up like crazy, you know. But it didn't mean that what he was doing when he's in his 90s was not as important, you know. It's just different, you know. And the funny thing is, so when he was 90, I played with him at his 90th birthday at Carnegie Hall, and it was beautiful. And then every time I came to New York, I'd go down to the Iridium. And then in that last year of his life, I said to him one night, Les, I don't know, but I swear you're playing better than you were last year. He said, I better be, I'm practicing more. So this is 2025. So in May of this year, I will be in my home country of Australia, and I'll have my 70th birthday in Adelaide, in South Australia. Yeah.
What do you think about about 70?
I wish it was 40. but it isn't. It's 70, and that's
Time
just
only
how it
moves
is.
one way, at least as we know.
Yeah, you cannot fight time. And I've never been one of these people who thought, well, I better get some plastic surgery and get my hair change, color of my hair changed and the blah, blah. I don't want to do any of that stuff, you know. I don't really care about that. What I care about is, can I write something better than I wrote yesterday, you know, and how much fun can we have on stage tonight? How much fun can people have? Because that's really what it's all about, you know. I don't really care if people think I'm great or not. I could care less. As long as people keep coming back because they're getting something that they may not get at someone else's show.
There's no one I know that has the energy that you have in your playing. It's so fun, and it's got energy of it's got the exuberance of a teenager.
Exactly. Well, that's who you're looking at. In here, I'm still. This is what, like, I've got some broken ribs, and I fell on stage running around, skipping, and I broke 2 ribs and fractured a third, and I'm still, they're not healed yet because I've been busy. You know, because I went to Australia for Christmas and had a great time with my youngest daughter, Rachel, who turns 10 very soon. And we surfed, and I taught her how to use the boogie board, and we just had a great time. I got sunburn, and all that stuff. Had a great time. Then I flew all the way back to Nashville, and then the pain set in, and I had to go back to my doctor and say, I need some more medicine for this. And he said, well, you know, you're not going to heal very quickly because of your age. And I didn't even think of that. And was like, oh, that's right. I'll be 70 this year.
Now, Tommy, having the guitar, when you have broken ribs, having the guitar up against you, does that hurt?
No, it's this side here.
Okay, thank God,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
wait, how did you fall on stage?
I ran out. This is before I even played the first note of the show. The crowd are going off.
Wait, how do you play with broken ribs then?
I played 5 more shows after that.
Did you realize they were broken?
Oh, yeah. I was in agony.
Yeah.
And they took me to ER after the show. And the doctor gave me a shot to bring the pain down.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just breathing was hurting.
Oh, my gosh.
You know? And so they did the X-ray, and I had 2 fractured ribs at that time, right? Oof. So I made the decision at the hotel early the next morning. My tour manager came in and said, well, what's the decision? What are we doing? I said, we're driving to blah, 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 and we're going to do the show. And he said, all right, let's go. So I did 5 more shows, and I had 1 more to go to finish the Canadian tour I was on. And I finished the 5th show, and I went into the dressing room, and suddenly, and I sneezed, and I broke the ribs. I broke my ribs sneezing.
That happens.
Apparently, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about pain.
Oh, man.
I mean, the cracked rib was nothing compared to the broken rib. That was on another level. So, but anyway, I got through it, and I postponed all my November dates this previous year. And so I'll be doing those in February this year. It's like this.
You're doing a record with Vance Powell, is that right?
Yeah.
So what is that record?
It's a new record of all original stuff. Yep. And I'm going to have a go at a couple of vocal tunes to see if I can pull that off, and, you know, see how I go.
Great.
And I'm hoping to have my lady friends from Lark and Poe to come and play and sing with me.
Oh, they're amazing.
Sing with me on that track. Oh, they're great.
They're
I
so
love
good.
those girls.
Oh, my God.
And both their husbands are great people to be around too, and just such talent, you know.
So talented, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got a lot of stuff to do.
And then what about the Sydney Opera House?
Okay, well, in 2023, I recorded 2 shows. I did a 3 o'clock in the afternoon show and then an 8 o'clock at night show at the Sydney Opera House. And we filmed and recorded both shows. Wow. The final product is 90% the first show. The last bit of it is how I played this particular tune. You may know this song. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
Paul Simon.
Yeah. When you're going to draw from people like Paul Simon, or you're doing a Beatles arrangement or whatever,
Yeah.
we talked about this last time about and you talked about a little bit when we were on stage earlier about being true to the melody.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing,
Yeah.
right? And then what you put under the melody, the harmony, the counterpoint,
Yep.
things like that. Those are things that you will experiment with. You talked a little bit about playing things that are surprising. You want to learn for those things. Talk a little bit more about that.
Say arranging that particular
Yep.
tune. So my good fortune is that I didn't know that song. I thought I knew every Paul Simon song. That one I must have missed it, right? So I had a gig to do just Emmylou Harris and me, right? And she gave me the list of songs and said, I want to do this one, and it's an American tune. I thought, I've never heard of that. So, of course, I found Paul Simon singing it on Saturday Night Live back in the 70s. And I was like, my jaw hit the ground when I heard that. But then I tried to learn it, and I realized, because I only had a day, the gig was the next day.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm learning the repertoire the night before.
Of course, when are you going to do it?
So here's what I did. I got a piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote a chord for every beat. Da, 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 dee. I wrote a chord for every beat.
That's brilliant.
That's all I could do.
Yeah.
Because she's going to sing it, right?
Yeah.
So, and what happened on that night was, just before we went on stage, she said, oh, by the way, I want to do American tune in whatever key it was, A flat instead of G. So I had to move the capo and work and make sure. It was scary.
Oh my God.
But anyway, so it was so good, and she sang it so beautifully. After the show, I went home, and I thought, this song won't leave me alone. It's seeping into me. So I sat there and I went. So I played Paul Simon singing it, listened to how he phrased, and I also listened to Rhiannon Giddens' version as well. And there are several good versions of an American tune. And so once I'd kind of figured out the positions. There's the melody.
Yep.
There's that left hand on the piano.
Yep.
But I'm all right. And so when I'm playing the song without singing, I'm singing it. But I'm all right. I'm all right. Just weary to my bone. There's the accompanist.
Yep.
Still, you don't expect to be bright and bon vivant, so far away from home. So far away from home. So I'm true to the melody, and I'm trying to play the melody like I'm singing it. I don't just play it.
Are you singing in your head when you're playing?
Totally.
You are, right?
I am, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I came up with this idea. I played it on stage. I found the courage to play it on stage, right? When I was still struggling with everything. And I got the idea in the middle of an American tune to go into Waltzing Matilda, the famous Australian song. So it goes. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing. And he sang. So I've been American Tune and Waltzing Matilda.
And you did that just live. It just came to you.
I just did it the first time I played it live, and I went, "This is the idea. This is it. This is a winner," you know, because I'm Australian, but I'm proud to be an American citizen as well, you know, and it's just it's a way of, you know, saying both things can work together.
Yeah.
You know?
When you're doing a live show, how often do these things happen that you'll have something that you'll just try right
Most
there?
of my best ideas have happened on the fly because your spirit's up.
Yeah.
Your adrenaline's up. You're in the moment and people are beaming at you.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're getting that
you're getting
that energy.
Oh yeah. I mean that's real mojo, you know. Sometimes I get ideas, like if I watch B.B. King live at Sing Sing Prison or something, and just watch him doing what he does, it just fires me up and makes me want to play the guitar. I can't play like that, but I just want to do something, you know? He just fires me up, you know.
I want to ask you, I've seen you play electric guitar and stuff, but how often do you play electric guitar?
Not as much as I'd like, but, you know, it depends. Like, on the track I did with Michael McDonald on Accomplice 2, right? I basically, Michael sent me his final vocal, which was spectacular,
Wow.
and his piano, which was beautiful, and this little drum machine, right? Great, perfect. So I added real drums, right? And I had some mics in the room as well, real bass. And then I played some electric guitar parts. And then I decided to do the kind of creamy distortion and did all that, but it was just too heavy for the track. So I ended up going with what I know would work, and that is nylon string guitar. It's still his feature, his vocal, but my guitar kind of answers every now and again, but it's not boom like that. It's nylon string and it's subtle.
Would you say you have a different voice on each instrument, nylon string versus regular acoustic versus electric guitar? Or is it all you?
Oh, well, they're all parts of me, aren't they? I was in a band back in the 70s, and we did a remake of I'll Be Around by the Spinners. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I played the introduction, and I was big into George Benson and Where's My Going? So I played it like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and so I've always tried to follow my instincts and see what I can bring to the music that hasn't been there before or something, you know.
We're out here doing this George Benson.
Yeah. So what a privilege it is for me to be here.
And I listen to George all the time still, and I've been fans of George since the 1960s. Tonight on stage, everyone was sharing the first time that they heard George.
Yeah.
And Patty Austin made an interesting point about how people were talking about George's guitar playing, and George is an equally phenomenal singer.
He's an incredible singer.
Incredibly good singer.
That's why I mentioned, when I spoke about him today, I mentioned when I heard him sing The Greatest Love of All.
Yes.
I said, that's the greatest version of that song.
Yes.
You know, God bless you, Whitney. But nobody sings it like George.
George is such a phenomenal player, and his voice is equally great. I can't think of anyone that can do both like that.
And see, the thing that really came to me today, just seeing the joy on everyone's face and George listening and stuff like that. But you can think of all the great jazz guitar players out there in history, and you can't think of, and I'm not putting any of them down because I respect and love them all, but I can't think of one who does to an audience and who does from the stage what George does.
Yeah.
Nobody comes, you know, as great as all the greats were, Joe Pass or people like that. Nobody even get it out of the case compared to him.
George's time feel is so incredibly groovin'.
Yeah.
He can play over he's so funky. It is insane.
The first time I met George, we were at the Hyatt Hotel here in Phoenix. And I came down, I had my guitar on my back, and he sat down and we started talking a bit, got the guitar out and I went... The intro he plays on Weekend in LA, you know?
Yeah.
And he's singing away.
That is amazing.
Yeah. That's a horn.
Yeah, it really amazed me when he became this huge pop star, being such a phenomenal jazz guitarist.
Yeah.
And he didn't sing on every song, like the other side of Abbey Road. He sang on some of the songs on that record, and the arrangements are amazing.
Oh, they are.
And when he focused more on singing and then just became this huge star, was really a unique
Prince's
thing.
time with him. Yeah,
that's right.
Give Me the Night and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still did. You know, all that stuff. He didn't have to play much. All that stuff, you know. Just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a pentatonic, but who cares?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it feels so right.
Feels
if
so
you
right.
played something else in there, you'd be like, that sounds too guitar-y. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is music.
Okay, talk about time feel. You have amazing time. You have amazing groove. That's
you.
everything, right?
That's everything.
That's everything.
If there's no groove, the body doesn't move. Simple as that.
Yeah.
When I'm doing workshops, particularly when there's a big crowd, I always say, there would be no one in this room if I didn't play with groove.
Right.
And that's the truth.
And you can really play any notes if you're grooving. You can play all atonal things and people will move.
Yeah.
To
Exactly. Well, there's all kinds of groove, you know. There's that kind of up on it, but really in time up on. And there's also that I'm just going back. Me and Willie Nelson are hanging out back here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I call it hosing. When I hose the hell out of the audience, right, for a while, and I'm just like, what I'm doing is like they're all having a great time, and they're completely disarmed because they've come there to see this real serious music show, and this guy comes out and just hoses the crap out of them, right? So when the time is right, I go into something completely unexpected, like What a Wonderful World, right? And I don't state time with anything except the melody. So I'll go like this.
beautiful.
Just that. It doesn't need someone going, because that's already happening in here. And if it's happening in here, it's all around us.
Yeah.
You know, time is not just inside my head or my body or whatever. It's emanating and going through everybody, and everybody's feeling it. It's the same thing as the chords. I don't need to say what the chords are. I can go, your ear's already going.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. filling in the harmony there.
Exactly.
The brain is.
I don't need to be doing that all the time. I'll tell you the story, and you put the background in here.
Do you ever think of yourself as being part of the audience and listening to your performance,
Always.
and then you have I need to do something like that here because the audience needs
Exactly.
that.
I let me tell you, my audience and the room and the sound of it, that is my world. And if something's not working right, I want to know what it is and how to fix it, or if something's stopping me from being at my best, that's when I get angry.
And what would that be? What could stop you from being at your best?
Oh, it could be a person on the phone, or trying to get a selfie, holding the phone up, and the audience, and I'm up there, and they're trying, you know what I mean? Something like that. Hey, I'm going to come down and stick that right, you know what I mean? I've done it. Yeah, so this is special, what's going on here. This is, pay attention and feel it, because I'm giving you everything I can. I'm not holding anything back. I'm being completely open and vulnerable, and I'm being completely honest. Let's do this together, Just go with it. It's kind of like that.
What do you think that people feel the need to record themselves being somewhere instead of just being in the moment and listening?
They don't know any better. They're already brainwashed.
Yeah.
If I go to dinner, I leave my phone in the car. Mm-hmm. If I go to a meeting, I leave my phone in the car. I need to be present. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be worried about what's going on and what's the temperature in Phoenix, that sort of thing. I don't need to be doing that.
What are other things that may take you out of the moment in a live performance? Is there things about the acoustics of a hall that you're playing that may be distracting or anything like that?
In the real world, which is the one you and I live in,
yep.
I have a great sound man,
mm-hmm.
right? I always, when I'm touring, I don't tour without him.
Okay.
He is a big part of my sound. And all my, my basic setup is an AER preamp,
okay.
like that, right?
Yep.
Set flat, that's one signal, that's coming straight from the guitar. And then I do a line out of that and go into a Udo Rosner amp, mm-hmm. and I come out of that. And everything is set flat. So all the frequencies, bass, middle, treble, they're all equal, right? Mm-hmm. And then we turn everything on, and I get on stage, if it's a pretty big hall, I got like a stage...
like side fills.
Side fill, sorry,
yeah.
So with a bass bin and a top bin up on the side. So I've got the guitar going boom through that.
Yeah.
Pretty big. I got the front of the note coming out of the monitor here, right? And my vocal is loud in the monitor. But don't forget, I wear these.
Yeah.
I have hearing aids because I was born with yellow fever.
Mm-hmm.
So my hearing was destroyed before I came into the world. But these are new hearing aids. So my last tour was the first 3 shows with new hearing aids. It was heaven, because everything was loud and big and gorgeous, and oh man, I felt like I could play anything.
The technology with that has improved so much too, right?
Exactly.
In addition to everything else, because of all the microchips and things like that,
all this here.
Yeah.
But getting back to what you were saying about rooms and acoustic, I can't tell you how many times people have said, "Oh, you've got to play this hall because the acoustics are so wonderful," and I say, I don't care, as long as the electrics are good.
Right.
In other words, if it's a good PA,
sure,
and there's enough PA, I'm not looking for super loud.
Yeah.
I'm looking for big.
Do you want to hear your guitar in the room
oh,
also?
Absolutely.
Do you want to hear it? You want to hear
world.
it? You want to hear it not only from the side fills, not only from a monitor here, but you want to hear it
everywhere.
You want to hear it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you're in the audience at my show, you should feel like your head is right here. Okay? You should feel like your head is almost inside my guitar, because that's what I'm going for. And I'm not going to let you off until I'm ready. Right? I've got you now. No, but that's the thing. See, most acoustic guitar players not all of them use an amp, you know, because we don't want to do that, you know. We don't want to carry an amp; it's heavy. I'd rather carry a purse, you know. Some players also only carry one guitar because they don't want to carry a second guitar.
Yeah.
So they spend half the show tuning up and telling stories, and then halfway through each song they're out of tune because the guitar hasn't settled into the next tuning.
Yeah.
You know? Of all the people who are watching you right now, I say, don't do that.
Now, Tommy, this guitar seems to really stay in tune because you've been bending notes, you've been banging on it and everything, and it really seems to hold the tune.
I stretch them in. I know this guitar well.
Okay, how long does it take you to stretch them in? Do you wind the things a certain way?
I can change strings in the interval and play the second set.
And how often do you do that? Not often, though, right?
It depends if they need. People say, you know, how often do you change strings? I usually answer at least once a year, but I'm only kidding. When they need it.
Yeah.
When I'm not getting what I need. See, these strings...
And what gauge do you use?
This is 12 to 54.
Okay.
So they've already lost a bit of mojo.
Yeah.
And I haven't played a show with these strings yet.
And what kind of strings do you use?
Well, these ones are Ernie Ball Paradigm.
Okay.
Right? I put them on the other day because I like those.
Okay.
But my main string that I use is Martin strings.
Okay.
Martin SPs and Martin, the FlexiCore ones that are my signature strings. And they're so beautiful. And you play down and it goes, wow, you know, has that overtone that I'm always looking for, you know.
Have you always used that gauge strings?
Yeah, 12 to 54. I carry 3 guitars on the road, and the third guitar is a bigger jumbo size, and I use 13 to 56 on that, and I tune it down a whole step, right? And then I do it into drop D, so it's down to C.
Okay.
It's
beautiful, right?
Delicious.
Yeah.
You know. So I've never used this guitar in drop D, so let's do this for a second.
Beautiful.
That's an old tune of mine called Precious Stone.
This guitar is so even in the mid-range.
Yeah, it is.
It's not boomy at all.
No.
And the high notes are super fat. They're super fat. I mean, it just sounds so, sounds beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. You know, if I really, it's got everything. You know?
Yeah. If you're traveling around, we're out in the desert now.
Yeah.
If you're coming from Nashville or something like this, how long does it take for the guitar to settle in?
Oh, it's all right. It's okay.
Okay.
But I've got the spanner. I can let the neck off. I'll bring it up. You know, sometimes like it took me a while to get used to being in America when I first came here, because the weather is much more extreme here than in Australia, right? So my first couple of winters here, all my flesh split. I got split fingers, and I had to tape it up, and God, I had to play with pain through the pain, you know. And the necks on my guitar, all of a sudden it's dead straight, and I had to let the neck off. And so what I started doing was, after the shows, I'd take this is when I had 2 guitars. I'd take the guitars back. I'd run the shower in the hotel, fill the room with smoky, warm air, and then close the door, put the guitars in there, and then they'd be okay the next day, you know.
Especially out here, I noticed this about how dry, because I brought a guitar out too, and I adjusted the neck on it today.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, and even this morning when I came out, there's no dew on the seats in out here or anything like that, because there's no moisture in the atmosphere at all.
Exactly, and you'll notice, I don't know what guitar you bought, but I bet it was an electric guitar.
It was, yeah.
Even a guitar like a Telecaster, I fly somewhere and do a show when I was playing electric, and for sure I'd have to adjust that neck, you know, because it's wood. It moves with you know, its surroundings. So you know, but this guitar's really new, so it's really coming to life, and I'm just really pleased with it. You know, the other thing I like about a guitar this size, when I play with Yoshio Stefan or someone like that, you know, like I'm playing rhythm like this. I'm not going. You know what I mean? I'm going. It's just got everything, you know. And he's playing, right? He's playing up there, and so when I play rhythm for a person playing that kind of Django swing kind of tunes, I quite often break out into just the bass and drums part, right? So the first time round, I may state the chords with them. Right? Do that, right? And then because it doesn't need me to be going. So, and all that stuff is nice every now and again, but it gets in the way of what the melody's trying to do. And so, you know, in general, less is more is the way to go.
Tommy, I like asking people this.
Okay.
What's a song that you think, oh, that is a perfect song?
Oh, there are so many of them. James Taylor's Frozen Man is about one of the most perfect songs ever written. Sinatra singing The Shadow of Your Smile is like one of the greatest things ever done.
I haven't thought about that in The Shadow of Your Smile. Oh my gosh, yes. Beautiful.
His vocal on that live album at the Sands. Holy smoke.
Yeah.
You try singing along with it, you're going to be going, trying to get a breath.
Yeah.
A song that it just tells you a story or takes you somewhere. You know, I just need to hear it. You know, like I had a girlfriend years ago, and it would be always like, just play Wave. Do it. What a perfectly beautiful song.
It was my dad's favorite. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All those songs.
Yeah. It's as perfect as Across the Universe by John Lennon. Now, that's one of the greatest songs I've ever heard.
Absolutely. Is there a song that you don't play right now that you want to do an arrangement of? Something that you've been like, I really need to do my own version of that?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but it's probably going to happen. That's what happened with American Tune.
There you go.
It got in me, you know. So I'm looking for the next one.
Tommy, it's been so great hanging out with you and seeing
likewise,
you.
Brother.
It's been way too long. I want to come out and see you play. And
well, I want to congratulate you on all what you do for people out there.
I appreciate it.
it's a big thing, you know. You've changed the world in many ways for a lot of people out there, you know. And people like me need a guy like you that we can sit and talk, and you let me just do what I do and just be in the moment, and that's a beautiful thing. You know?
I love to hear. I love to hear you play. I love to hear the stories behind your songs. It's so fun for me.
You're a musician and you totally get it. I know when I played when I played Secret Love and I got to the bridge.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you
Yeah.
went, oh,
Beautiful. I love that kind of harmony.
Yeah, you got it, and I got chills just then, but that was the same chills I got. When you responded to that, I said, yes, he knows it, you know. You're not just a pretty face.
Not. Tommy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.